Welcome back to the virtual stage at Procurement and Supply Chain Live London. Now, next up is Steve Wilson, who's Chief Procurement Officer with FICO, a US-based analytics software company. Prior to FICO, Steve was a high-level procurement professional with companies including Yahoo, VeriSign, and data center specialist Equinix. I enjoy building high performance teams that focus on partnerships and thinking outside the box, says Steve. Well, today he will be talking about procurement creation or the creation of procurement value in challenging times. So over to you, Steve.
Thanks so much, Sean. It's been great to have this opportunity to present a topic that I'm very passionate about. So I've simply titled this presentation, Transforming Procurement Value in Challenging Times. And I'm going to start right away with the times that we live in. And I believe these economic times present unique procurement opportunities today, opportunities that perhaps we've never had before in the procurement area. And I will focus on a few priorities that all of us should have in our specific company. Number one, creating and evangelizing our procurement plan. Number two, securing executive sponsorship and support. Providing data transparency through communication mechanisms, facilitating business partnerships at the highest levels, executing company wins and celebrating successes with business stakeholders, and then finally monitoring progress, striving for excellence for your company. We'll then talk a little bit about our key deliverables and then open it up for some questions. And so why is procurement so critical now? And why do I believe the opportunities are so great? We are living in a world post-pandemic or, with COVID still around, of high inflation, and suppliers obviously want to pass those costs on to our companies. There are global supply chain issues across our world, and there are labor shortages like we've never seen before. All three of these issues can be addressed specifically by procurement, and we need to let our upper management know exactly how we are going to add value to our organization and add margin to our organization by addressing these three areas. So first and foremost, we need to define a plan. I've been with FICO for almost 3 years, and every company I go to, we establish a plan similar to the one that you're seeing here. We define what data we're going to gather, how we're going to build and execute against our plan, and then we track this plan accordingly and frankly articulate this to upper management. We also want to establish what our vision is as a procurement organization. Ours at FICO is playing the key role of commercial experts in managing the company spend to maximize value through sourcing, category management, and procurement operations. And through that plan, we do a number of different things on my team. And in procurement in another company may look different than it does at FICO. We own different areas that I didn't own in other companies, like our managed services program, our contingent workforce. We also own our third-party risk management program. I own real estate and facilities for our team. And so it may be different compared to the different organization you might be a part of. You might manage more spend or less spend than I own, but we have to create this plan specifically for our organization. This next funnel is very important for us to define. It's improving expense deals through the funnel that we push everything through. And at FICO, it's for deals over 200,000. Your organization may be 50,000. It might be over $1 million. But what we do with all deals over 200K is we perform third-party benchmarking. We want to make sure the pricing that we're getting for all of these deals is not only competitive with other companies of like size, but it's competitive from a best-in-class perspective. We then provide a supplier review, performance monitoring, and optimization effort with each one of these deals. We put it through our controls, governance, and risk management. That could mean third-party risk management. It could mean a number of other things from a policy and controls perspective. We do category analysis. Do we use this product in other areas? Should we provide competitive bidding? Should we attack this strategy in a different way? And then obviously we then manage the contract process. All the commercial terms are owned by my team, and we work very closely with legal, finance, and other teams to drive value ultimately for our organization. This is critical because the business itself, if they've handled deals in the past, they don't do these things. They are not providing this value, and we need to let upper management and frankly, the business management know all the steps we're taking to drive organizational value. Then the procurement and inbound lifecycle. I believe this is a very important slide. That there's numerous different areas in category management that we drive, and this includes everything from QBRs to some of the things that I just mentioned, benchmarking, et cetera. A deal review, obviously, we're negotiating the deals and doing that with expertise behind those negotiations. Our governance, again, I mentioned our third-party risk management, DPA, TPAs, numerous other controls that we're managing as we not only onboard a supplier, but renew a supplier on a yearly basis. And then our operations, that includes everything from signing the deal and negotiating, the purchase order, facilitating contract review, etc. What we've done across the organization is we not only have QBRs for suppliers, but we have internal QBRs that are equally, if not more important. Within these QBRs, we provide this RACI, which has been blessed for our upper management. And this specifies who's responsible, accountable, who's going to be informed, et cetera, with every one of the steps of our process when it comes to procure to pay. This is important because it's going to differentiate what the business handles, what finance handles, what legal handles versus what procurement is going to own moving forward. And this is critical that my boss, who's our CFO, or our CEO, understands this and is going to support this moving forward to all of our business stakeholders, and then jump in when this is not occurring. And again, I stress the importance of executive management, because without executive management, there's going to be individuals that go rogue and do their own thing, and frankly, do what is not best for the company, especially if you have category experts in your group, as I do. And then I think it's really important also to discuss the procurement ecosystem. What systems are you using? What processes are you driving? How are we doing our job in adding value throughout the organization? We use Scout for some of our category management and contract needs, and I won't go through everything, but this is a slide which I love because it talks about all of our system usage and how we drive success for FICO. I also do the same thing with our real estate and facilities team, what our ecosystem is, what we're doing to leverage our real estate deals and to assess who's going into the office and who's not, and who's using the tools that we frankly have implemented across the company. Next, what I believe is very important and something that far too few companies leverage is data transparency and communication mechanisms for this data. Of course, FICO is a data company, and what we've done in procurement is first and foremost focus on areas that we want to report out to our stakeholders internally, externally, as well as to executive management. So we use Snowflake and Tableau. We leverage areas such as spend, supplier scorecards, contract savings, projects, travel, PO data, supplier diversity, etc. Your areas of focus might be a little bit different, but we need to define what data we need and how to manipulate that data to, again, present and show internal stakeholders data and analysis that they've never seen before. And so what I do on a quarterly basis is I provide this data to our E-team. And here's some of the dashboards that I show, dashboards for procurement operations, dashboards for travel, for third-party risk management. You'll see all of it here, which is, again, data that they've never seen before our team took this on. Here's some savings reporting data. We call it annual savings recognition, which does go through both cost savings and cost avoidance. It talks about the different areas. When we go to a QBR, we actually bring a specific dashboard for that responsible party within our group and show how they're spending the money, how we've collectively driven savings for the organization. And I really think that this is important. If procurement is taking all of the credit for those negotiations, we are doing ourselves and the company a disservice. Far too many sales directors or directors in marketing or technical areas want to not only be a part of these negotiations from a technical perspective, and that's how it works at FICO, but they also don't want to look bad when we go in and save the company 20%. We want to celebrate successes with those colleagues so that they're going to reach out to us. We're going to be their first call with every single deal, which is how it should be. Next, I put together a dashboard for all of our projects, and we use a maturity model to rate where the projects are in their phased maturity. Really important. You can see a swim lane for every project, and then we build out a separate slide when we're presenting this in detail to executive management. But this is very critical with not only justifying procurement projects, budget, et cetera, but also tracking these projects and showing management the progress that we've made throughout the year. I then also provide information for facilities, real estate, and other areas such as office utilization. Who's going into the office? Who's leveraging our Space IQ reservation software? Do this worldwide. And again, this is data that our E-team both wants to see, and they want to see this on a monthly or a quarterly basis. And so this is packaged into my executive team reports. And then what I think is actually most important that we monitor is our own progress, our own scorecard. So we provide scorecards for our supplier base. As important, if not more important, we need to provide a scorecard for procurement itself. And we've identified 12 areas that are important, and we need to be hard on the grading here. Here's a scorecard that outlines every 6 months that we've been a part of or the last 3 6-month periods, if you will. And the important things for us are automation, real-time data, internal relationships, governance, executive or execution and delivery, innovation and efficiency, people and team, supplier accountability, communication, value to our internal FICO stakeholders, our reputation, and E-team support. And you'll see that in each one of these areas, we've rated where we want to be. We may not be an A when it comes to automation or governance. We don't frankly need to be an A compared to all of our colleagues across the nation in these areas, but we want to be a B. And we started out probably a C or below, and we've slowly gone up the food chain, the value chain when it comes to automation and other areas. There's other areas where we think we're an A. We've created value and those relationships, which are so critical in our organization right away. And what I would say is what's most important when you're attacking a transformational effort in procurement is you need to make sure that those relationships with high level executives are solidified so that your value is being shown, and you are partnering with them with their budget and with every single deal commencing here forward. And then at the right-hand side, we talk about success and next steps. How are we going to get to the next step in each one of these procurement scorecard areas? It is as important, if not more important, that we monitor ourselves than it is our supplier base, which we do provide on an annual or semi-annual basis. So the key deliverables in transforming procurement in these tough economic times are create and working your plan. Make sure that that plan is visible for internal stakeholders. Make sure that in your internal QBRs and in your reports to the E-team that they see your plan and they see progress against your plan. Transparency of data and monitoring that data is a must. I know a lot of CPOs that are struggling to get data to the level of the dashboards that I have just shown you. And it's difficult, but if you have to create these from a manual fashion in the interim until you have tools like Snowflake, Tableau, or other tools where you can manipulate and show real-time data at your fingertips, you need to do this because it's critical internally to drive the value that you want to drive. Track execution and evangelize successes. As I mentioned, when we started, there was there was such a huge greenfield of opportunities, and there still are at FICO. And when we achieve great savings or success for the organization, we send out an email, we send out recognition for the leaders and or the stakeholders that we're working with that have helped us achieve success. We are driving all the commercial negotiations. They're driving the scope and the technical negotiations through us, if you will. And we also have tremendous relationships with our legal and finance teams. And I just at our year end sent out an email acknowledging our legal team who stepped up to the plate like they never have before. And we need to make sure that they know we have their backs and that they are our key internal partners as we collectively try to achieve success. And then finally, don't be satisfied with any less than full E-team support. I know that if we are accomplishing the 3 bullet points, the first 3 bullet points, there should be no issue with full E-team support. If we are truly creating and working our plan, if we're showing transparency of data and monitoring that data, and then if we're tracking our executions and evangelizing that success, the E-team should want to promote you to every single group in the organization. And in fact, in our organization, we only initially wanted to attack the hardware, software, and infrastructure teams. And as we started to get success, we were getting calls from marketing. We were getting calls from sales. We were getting calls from our other teams across the organization wanting us to participate and help drive value, which is something that I haven't seen in a lot of organizations. But success breeds the need for others to want to be involved in that success. And I hope that you're also able to implement some of these things in your organization and achieve success across the board, especially in these times, which again, I feel are tremendous opportunities for procurement. And with that, we'll take it back to Sean and ask if there's any questions. Here, Sean.
Steve, thank you ever so much for that. It's really insightful. And, here, the areas you were covering, we hear this a lot, don't we, with companies, the pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, the switch in procurement departments as being ostensibly seen as cost control centers to now something far more strategic and vital to a company's well-being in difficult times. Now I know you're helping businesses sort of move along with that process of evolution, but be interested to know actually, this knowing that you need to do something and wanting to do it and actually doing it are often very different things, aren't they? In your experience, what barriers are there to companies who know they should be doing it and they want to do it, but they can't quite get things off the ground? How do you and other companies help them over those obstacles?
Yeah, I think some companies and some CPOs, they just are nervous at addressing certain groups that are the holy grail, whether that's marketing or sales, and they just stay away from those teams. I do the exact opposite. I try to develop those relationships again through e-team support. I try to work with my boss, our CFO or our CEO, to make sure we are engaged in those areas. And again, we're all stakeholders. Typically, all the leaders have some equity in the company. We want to do what's best for the company. We try to approach it as taking work off their desk, but also they clearly see down the road that the expertise that my team offers is better than the expertise that they were driving and value they were driving for a deal. And sooner or later, we become, not just, key partners with them, but driving those negotiations and commercial aspects of every deal, because we're bringing benchmarking, we're bringing expertise, category analysis, we're looking at numerous, external, options and benchmarks for that specific deal, which they don't do within the business. And so that's how we've overcome those obstacles and become successful.
So is it the case then, Steve, that you're helping to educate particular departments within companies? You mentioned sales and marketing being two of them. Is there an educational role to what you do on behalf of your customers?
There absolutely is. In fact, we have also put together presentations for sales at their bidding to educate them on what procurement does and educate them on how to work with procurement teams. Our sales groups get nervous when other large procurement teams get involved. And so we've worked specifically with them on when procurement's involved in this step of the deal, this is probably what they're looking for. And so it is a huge education process, not just on our internal value, but also helping teams achieve their goals with external customers. And we've fulfilled that role as well. In addition to that, we've helped with COGS, and we've helped with pricing of our products based on the knowledge that we have of external factors in our environment today and what suppliers are trying to do with us to help our sales and business development and other teams in working with their customers. And I think if procurement's not doing that, I think we're losing opportunities to really drive value.
And you couldn't help but hear that you mentioned, there are a good number of companies who aren't leveraging the data that's at their fingertips, and they're not, making the most of that.
Yes.
Why do you think that is, Steve?
I think for some companies, they just don't have the tools that you need to be able to manipulate the data and report on that data or dashboard that data to show it in a way that is most valuable. But I think there's workarounds there. What we've done, we use Oracle as our financial system, and we just had to hire some analysts on my team that could go in and manually manipulate the data until we could do it in a much more automated fashion. Data at your fingertips is absolutely critical for a procurement role, and especially when we are trying to add some value that our internal stakeholders have never seen before. That data element is absolutely a must for our team.
And I mean, it might be the case, it probably is with a lot of companies, that data exists in a endless series of spreadsheets or in sort of siloed in various departments. I imagine moving from that to gaining visibility of your entire procurement function is quite a big step, isn't it? Do they find that daunting? Is that a barrier in itself, moving from the old school to the new school?
It really is, and again, what we've done is establish relationships with our FP&A, our finance teams, as well as our accounting teams, who are already manipulating that data to some degree for financial reporting purposes. And so that data has already been massaged, and we can manipulate that for our purposes. That is a bit different, but several steps in the right direction for procurement as we're presenting it to our business stakeholders.
And you mentioned earlier that a crucial step in implementing the digital transformation of procurement is educating other departments within the company of the value of procurement. What other crucial steps do you think businesses need to take for these transformation projects to get up and running and to do what they're designed to do, Steve?
Well, we've already seen different companies starting to invest a lot more in procurement. I hire a different type of person in my group. I hire an individual that has great communication skills, that almost is an internal sales representative. And what they're selling is procurement value to our internal stakeholders. I like individuals that are great at relationships, because relationships internally are the barrier for providing procurement value within an organization. If you have individuals that have been in procurement for 30 years and they just like to stay in their office, in their box, and manipulate data or place purchase orders, that's not going to be the person for me. I want to have someone, again, go outside the box, develop relationships, who could, an individual that can do a lot of different things at driving internal value, the ability to negotiate, the ability to massage data, the ability to, again, develop relationships within the organization is absolutely critical for procurement moving forward. And so, again, I hire a different type of a person, and the ability to communicate and develop those relationships is paramount of what I'm looking for.
Sure. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for now, Steve. So we're going to have to call it a day there. But thank you ever so much for your time and for sharing your knowledge and insight. And so, Steve Wilson of FICO, thank you and wish you well.
Thanks so much, John. Appreciate it.
And that brings to an end our program of remote presentations. The show rolls on tomorrow. And if you are viewing remotely, then do log on and engage with our full day of events. And thank you for joining us, and we wish you well.